Hello, passengers. This is your Chappy speaking, and welcome back to Chappy's Wild Ramblings, the show where I have no consistent nature or schedule at all, and I do these when I have the feeling to do one of these. And this is the part where I say it's been a while, because it's been a while. Probably have some relevant clip here. But anyway, I've just I should get off by saying for today's topic, I'm going to be talking about something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's the so-called Switch tax, or just in general the price of Switch games for the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's newest console, which is both a portable system and like a home console. It can switch between, hence the name. But anyway, starting off, I just still gotta say, like, the Nintendo Switch has been like my favorite Nintendo console ever. I love it. It's almost anywhere I go, it's like right next to me, and I play a lot of games on it, and I often give games a second chance on the Switch just because I often like playing games portably, and honestly, I really like having the option to switch between. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. Switch games are expensive, and yeah, a lot of games are expensive at the full 60 price, but Switch games are this weird area, so. And like I said, I'll often buy a game for the second or third time on the Switch just to be able to play the game portably, unlike you could before. You know, unless you have a gaming laptop, but those are expensive and get really hot, and don't want to set that nuclear thing on my lap. So yeah, but first of all, let's get into what people generally call the Switch tax. The Switch tax being how people have noticed like games on the Switch are a bit more expensive than on other consoles, and that's apparently due to the price to a malfunction. To put the game on a cartridge, so to speak. So, where it's a lot easier to put the game on a disc, it's a lot more expensive to shrink the game down and find a way to fit it onto a little bitty cartridge. And so, because of Nintendo's policy, they want to charge you the same price for a game physically and digitally. So, I think one of the best examples I can think of off the top of my head is Cave Story, which I think it was $40 or $30 on launch. And with the physical edition, you got a cool case and an instruction manual, and I think some stickers or something else, and it'd be the same price for the digital, but then you got none of the cool physical goodies if you ended up buying the game digitally, and it's like that for a lot of games. So again, I love Switch games. There's some of my favorite games have been on the Switch, like Breath of the Wild, which I bought that day one at the full $60 price tag, but that game in my head is worth the full price point. I've ended up putting like over 200 hours in the one game alone. That's just how good it is, and I can always replay it and just sink a lot of time into it. But there's other games that have been on the Switch that I don't think should have been released at this full price point. So, because another thing the Switch is known for is just essentially making sure your Wii U is completely irrelevant by porting almost every single Wii U game, or at least a sequel or enhanced port over to the Switch, which is fine, but you know, games like Mario Kart 8, which you could probably get on the Wii U a lot cheaper. It came out at a full $60 price point. And there's a lot of games like that, like the upcoming or currently released. I don't know when I'm gonna actually get this out. The game might be out by then, but Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which was a game on the Wii U, and of course is going to be coming out for the Switch. At this point, it will be on Friday, but the game will be priced at the full $60, even though you could go online and probably get the game for like 20 or 30. So that's like a big problem with, in my opinion, with the Switch's game prices. Like, I mean, I'll probably end up getting the game at the full price point. Maybe I'll wait for a discount, who knows, because I never really got the chance to play it when it was on the Wii U. And it's a lot of these games case, like even the case, there's not even that many improvements to the game before coming over to the Switch. And there's a problem that's kind of bothering me even with some of the games they're doing. They're not really ports, but they're remakes. I'm going to call them the Game Boy remakes because they're remakes of Game Boy games. So first of all was Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, which are essentially remakes of Pokemon Yellow on the Game Boy Color, and they came out for this full $60 price point. And because I'm a bit of a shill, I ended up buying one of the games. And not to get me wrong, I absolutely love it. It was a really fun take on Pokemon. It's like all the problems I thought the game was going to have with the forms of catching and not being able to grind out battles, but I think the catching mechanic worked fine in the game, but it's still Pokemon Gen 1 all over again. And they ended up remaking another Game Boy Color game with Link's Awakening. Oh, I can't speak. I can never speak in these, but God damn it. Link's Awakening for Game Boy, or now the Switch, and it's still a remake of a Game Boy game, and the remake's kind of like one-to-one with very little additions besides the enhanced graphics. I don't think they really added anything else besides the game, besides the amiibo Dungeon Maker that no one really seemed to care about when the actual game came out. And coming in the future is yet another Game Boy remake, well, a Game Boy Advanced remake of one of the Pokemon, the first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. And I'm sure they're going to sell that at a full 62 because they can. And that's just the thing. It's like Nintendo needs to stop selling like these like Game Boy remakes for this full price point. And the one game that kind of made me think about this the most is the somewhat newly released Pokemon Sword and Shield, a game I ended up really enjoying, but I don't think they should have sold it at the full 60, especially now with what they're doing and how they're going to be adding $30 expansion pass to the game. And don't get me wrong, it's a full-length Pokemon game. I've sunk a lot of time into it, like I do most Pokemon games. But as you'll see in almost any review of the game, you'll see the game doesn't feel like it's a full HD Switch game, but instead, which is my theory, is that the game was originally in development for the 3DS, and then the Switch came out, became super popular. They kind of switched it over to the Switch engine, and just there's like an entire controversy about this and the whole Dexit thing and how they cut over 400 Pokemon out of the game, and now they're going to put like 200 more back through the expansions, but that's neither here nor there. But again, it's like the game doesn't feel like a full-priced game. It feels, I hate to say it, but the game feels cheap. Like, you can view like any video of it online and just see how little effort is put into the game's animations. Like, that's why I want to think it was a 3DS game before they decided to just port over to the Switch and sell it that way, kind of like how Breath of the Wild was in development for the Wii U for the longest time, but they ended up porting it over and developing it on the Switch itself. So, but it's just not always the case of Nintendo games. Like, even I want to talk about The Witcher 3, how that recently got ported over to the Switch and was sold for the full 60 when it came out, which, don't get me wrong, The Switcher is an absolutely fantastic game, and I've gotten it on the Switch, and I've been playing it a lot on the Switch, but what I want to point out, the fact that it's a game from 5 years ago that is being sold at full price on the Switch, and it is an inferior version to the one you can get cheaper on PC, PS4, or Xbox One. So currently you're paying more for less, which, depending on how you act, you might not actually be getting less, because now with the Switch you have the opportunity to play it portably, which is why I kind of got it, to play the game portably. And even though it doesn't look the best on the Switch, it's like something I've just gotten used to. This is the way it's going to look on this smaller system, and I think it's fine. The game runs fine, it plays fine, it's still the great Switcher game I love. But like, that's another problem with the Switch, is like, even like these ports from other systems are being downgraded and then sold for this full price, only with the new feature to be able to play it portably. And I mean, some cases you get bonus things like Skyrim. If you didn't own Skyrim 5 times before, you could buy it on the Switch and get the Breath of the Wild costume and motion controls and all that. But I don't know. It's, again, I love the Switch, but I just feel like I'm paying way too much for games sometimes. Just because, one, they gotta bump up the price to put on a cartridge, and that then suffers from the digital sales too, because that price is bumped up. And another thing with the Switch, you don't want to buy too many games digitally because of the internal storage of the system. Though you can buy you can buy SD cards to extend it, but it's not all bad. I think in one case I'm going to mention is the new Dragon Quest. Yeah, that's the name. Dragon Quest 11 for the Switch. Like, the game came out, I believe, in 2007 for PS4 and PC, and the games were fine. People liked them, but then they wanted to port over to the Switch, and it was the like quintessential version of the game now, because they added a lot of features like a 2D mode and orchestral soundtrack, which sounds really good. I do recommend the game. It's a lot of fun, and I can understand, like, since it's not that old of a game and they want to charge $60 for it, and I think that's better than charging $60 for The Witcher, which, like I said, I think like currently you can get the complete edition on any other system for like $30, and the game's like always on sale. And because I think when I first got The Witcher for my PC, I only had to pay like $15. Like, it wasn't that bad at all. But I think the thing, like I said, that bothered me the most was the whole, like, the new Pokemon Sword and Shield, how they've charged you for a full price game, and then the game itself doesn't feel like a full priced game. Like, again, I'm not trying to discount how much fun I've had with the game. I'm just saying it doesn't look good. Like, it looks like a 3DS game that got blown up for a bigger system. But I've been rambling a bit, and I'm not sure if I've made my point, or if I've overmade my point, or if I've forgotten to make points I've wanted to make, but I think I'll just talk about some good, like, while I'm at it, because, again, I love the Switch, and, like, how many games the Switch actually let me experience because I had the option to just, pull out my Switch and sit down in front of a TV and just play a game while I got, like, some podcast or some other YouTube videos playing in the background. Like, if it wasn't for the Switch, I probably wouldn't have been able to experience games I now really enjoy, like Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy IX. I both played through completely on the Switch. I put way more time into Stardew Valley on the Switch compared to when I played it on the PC, because I don't always like being constricted to one place to play a game. I like to be able to move it around, and that's a testament to how much I love my Switch. Again, I love it. It definitely could be benefit to be more powerful, but hey, they're pulling miracles for what it can do while also still being a portable system, and I always have to give props to Nintendo. I'm gonna state this hopefully for the last time. It's just like, if anyone's even listening, just don't charge so much for games. You can take liberties. Charge a game for $40, $30 if that's what it should be valued at. Like, since, like I said, Pokemon Sword and Shield, if that was originally a 3DS game, charge it at the price of a 3DS game. That, and any sort of, like, these remakes from a previous portable system, just charge $40 for them, because that's what you would charge people on the 3DS. I don't know. And I think I've talked enough. I hope I made my point across. I'm not... play the games you enjoy, and I'll play the games I enjoy. And you know what? I'll probably, as soon as I'm done with this, I'm probably going to go back, grab my Switch, and play some more Witcher 3, because it's still a really good game, and I still like how it's not bad on the Switch by any means. It's a lot of fun. It's still the great game. I know I've said that, and I'm just kind of super rambling now.
And this,
What's he doing?
is to go even further beyond.
Which is my newest form, the Super Rambler, coming to a theater near you. Not actually, don't look for it. So, with that, I think it's time to say goodbye. So, I've hoped you enjoyed your flight. You may now get comfortable or as uncomfortable as you desire. And no, this has been your Chappy speaking, and that I love you, and no, you are loved. Goodbye.